No matter where you are, no matter what you do, you can bring who you are. It's time for you to show up as your authentic self and show up as you are. Yes, bring who you are. Bring who you are. Bring who you are. Bring who you are. Bring. Hello and welcome back to another Bring Who You Are, the Domestication of Entertainment 2. That's right. We said we was going to do it and we're doing it today. Now, we came on, we had a little snafu with our computer, but guess what? Tenacity always wins the race. So today we have two awesome guests for you. Count them. One. Add them together, that makes two coming straight for you. So with no further ado, we're going to get this party started and bring on the Bring Who You Are tribe that cannot be denied. So I want you to welcome our first tribe member coming all the way from Dallas, Texas. She's an author. She's a woman's entrepreneur coach and a three-time competitor with Miss Carol Geist, the first Black Miss USA and the Miss Universe #1 runner-up, the amazingly bodacious and beautiful Miss Pamela Lu Hing.
Woo-wee! Girl, I love to hear that introduction. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So glad to be here.
So glad to have you here. And with no further to do, Pam, how are you?
I am phenomenal. I really am, especially being with our Bring Who You Are tribe. It is just amazing. So come on in, y'all. As Lotus says, get your paper and pen.
And make sure you like, share, and start a
watch party.
That's right. Go tell somebody, because the next person that we're bringing up, she is the doctor with the hostess and the mostest. Okay, she is a co-hosting with us today as well. She's one of the tribe members. She's all the way from Los Angeles, California. She's the prophetess. She's the pastor of Walk in Victory, and she is also a comedian in her own right. Okay, she is the sensational singer, the contributing singer to many of the songs in The Color Purple. And if you don't know, now you know. And welcome Dr. Cecilia Sims to the show.
Hey, everybody. It is a blessing to be here today. We're going to have an awesome show, so hang around. Don't you go nowhere because you're going to miss it. We have an awesome guest today, and I'm just loving being with this group. I am so blessed today.
Awesome. Fantastic. So, man, we got to go all the way across the water and get the next sensational doctor. We want to make sure her mic is turned on when she come into place, because she's going to put some season in your face. So please welcome us, our other tribe member coming all the way from Toronto, Canada, by way of Jamaica. She's an award-winning author, founder of Family Civility Institute, and she is an amazing speaker as well. So please welcome Dr. Rebecca Phillison Harper.
Thank you so much. I love how you put on the accent every time.
Yeah, man.
Just being here on the show, no matter how your weeks can be, how the day can be, this tribe always puts a smile on my face and really is a divine just gift in my life. So thank you very much. And I just want to say that to all the women on the tribe and those watching, thank you.
All right, you're welcome, and I'm happy you came on because I was working that accent, so I was doing
Yeah, this is the
what I
real
can
one.
do with what I have. So I tell you,
You
I
heard it
had
when
the accent down.
I was cussing the platform. Saying, what go on with this man? Why can't you put them thing together and put the thing on live?
So listen, I had the accent, but I have someone else who has the poetry. So please join our other sister in the tribe, all the way from Richmond, Virginia. She is a dynamic poet. She is an inspirational speaker, and she loves walking in the forest, hugging the trees. That's what I said, hugging the trees, listening to none other than the birds and the bees. So welcome to us and to you, to this platform, our remarkable poet, the wonderful Jamija Jubilee.
Hi, y'all doing today, honey?
Hey, how you doing?
All of us just take a breath and be grateful that we are alive.
Yes.
Right.
We are alive today. It's a
All
great
right.
day. It's a great day to be alive.
Yes, it is. And Jamija, today you are on the hot box with everything you got. I know you're going to be talking to us about our upcoming guests, but you're going to get us started with what you do best. So let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen, ladies. Y'all got to help me out with this. Now, y'all
All
remember.
right.
And
Okay.
I want our viewers to know this. This is a poem that was written. It's going to be in Soul to Soul that I've co-authored with Martha High. She's doing the painting, and I'm doing the poetry. It's the last poem in the book. All right. And one of the things that we do as women, I know when I was growing up, I was to be
Yes.
seen and not heard. Okay.
Yes.
We did not have a voice.
Yep.
And so what I did was I bought a journal at 16. I wrote my first poem at 16. Where have all the Christian folk gone? They sure
Okay.
ain't gone to no heavenly home. Now, to bring us forward in my life, the poem that I've created is about being empowered and being empowered. And I have been empowered. And I hope that you all will enjoy this.
Yes.
No need to crawl, walk, march to the rhythm of your drum. Because, baby, I got what it takes. I am dancing, skipping merrily and cheerfully in flow with the Spirit and by God's grace. No longer shy and unassuming, docile, or keeping silent, saying ho, 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 hum. Bored, stuck, and rigid, all covered in my own stuff and blaming you for dumping your stuff on me and creating all my misery. I got a fire in my belly, y'all. I'm living in an empowered place. I got a fire in my belly, y'all, and I'm living from an empowered place. No longer do I lie, deceive, or cheat, or undermine, or manipulate either those who I perceive that are less than me because of this caste system that we live in that was set up to annihilate us and keep us in our place so that they could feel superior because the blackness of my skin offended them. And then I was not a member of the human race. I got a fire in my belly, y'all. And I'm living from an empowered place. I got a fire in my belly, y'all, and I'm living from an empowered place. No longer do I listen to he say, she say, or they say either. Those who pass along gossip and criticize to defame and destroy and defeat others. Gotta watch them, y'all. Because what they do, they don't know that they reap what they sow with. They reap what they sow, what they say with their mouth. And what comes out of their mouth is really a reflection of them. Because I heard somebody say a long time ago, you spotted, you got it. Got a fire in my belly, y'all. And I'm living from an empowered place. No longer do I have to marry every Tom, Dick, and Harry either. That give me a name or fix me and change me. Or I have to change them and give them because they are emotionally unavailable. Or neediness is their only claim to fame. Once again, I allow them men to drive me insane. Got a fire in my belly, y'all. And I'm living from an empowered place. No longer do I choose to suffer and be a martyr or be a poster child, suffering from enoughness, unworthiness, spinelessness, purposelessness, being fragile, having an ego, and sell my soul to the highest bidder for a millimeter second so that they can validate my own existence. I gotta find my belly, y'all, and I need to tell it. And I'm living from an empowered place.
Yep.
No longer would I hold back, bound by generational shame and generational patterns of anger, rage, drugging, drinking, eating, workaholism, religiosity, and more to cover up that's embedded in me by all this generational pain. And I have truckloads and truckloads of shame, shame, shame. No longer will I be part of this. I am brilliant, bodacious, beautiful, spiritual, sassy, sexy, and soulful. Boy, oh boy, did I just say a mouthful. No need for me to be doubtful because I know who I am. Because I'm a bold, badass soul is what I am. And I am now realizing that the gift that I bring to the world is me. I bring all of my talents and gifts. I have been empowered, my uniqueness, and I continue to unfold day by day. And God uplifts my soul. Let's breathe. I'm living from an empowered place. I got to find my belly, y'all, and I had to tell it. Now you've been told, now go tell that.
Tries to please herself too much, and I said, baby, why be this way?
Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, guys, come on in. Just want to invite some people to come in. Just wanted to come on today to, first of all, thank you all for liking our page, When Warriors Talk God Listens. We are excited about launching our book.
October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. We're celebrating here with two beautiful ladies. Brand new book called When Warriors Talk, God Listens. It's actually a tell-all collection of cancer journeys from co-survivors, survivors, thrivers, and conquerors. The curator of the book.
That was amazing. That was amazing, Jamija. Oh my gosh. You gotta
find my belly, gotta tell it.
I love it. I love it.
So what we're going to do now, we have, you played that nice promo to introduce the guests that are coming up. I call them the dynamic duo because you have to have a partner in order for you to bring out your creativity, someone that understands you being creative and they being creative. So together they are talented and they are dynamic and they truly are gifted because they bring things to where they are. And one of the things that we have to remember, we talk about voice. All of us have to find our voice. So these two have found a voice together and they're harmonizing. They're harmonizing and bringing their talents. We want to first introduce Tracy Kincaid. She's a songwriter. She's an author and a singer and an actress and a model. She's a recording artist too. And you know what else she has done? She appeared in Empire, which is one of my favorite shows. I watch every episode of Empire. And that I want to say about Tracy, what I learned being in her presence, she has a giving heart. She wholeheartedly works with her nonprofit to bring all the love that she has so that she can help other people know that love and become the wonderful human beings that God created them to be. So welcome to our show, Tracy.
Thank you.
Hi,
everyone.
Good to see you.
What's going on with my camera? Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
we can hear you.
Awesome.
We can hear
Wow, I'm loving
you.
this energy here. Thanks for having me on the show.
We're
Yeah,
super happy to have you on the show.
yeah. And we got to introduce the other part of this dynamic duo, this dazzling, tremendously fine people that work together with their creativity so that it can blossom and they can flourish. She wouldn't be anything without her partner, the big D, none other than Donald Kincaid. We want to welcome. He's a music person.
Yay!
I have to tell you what I was most impressed about you with Mr. Kincaid. You can tell you what I'm most impressed about you is that you have courage. It has taken courage. When I read through your bio and all the things that you have done and people you've hung around with, you've hung around with some people, okay? And because you are so talented, we know that you started at 5 years old. We know that you started playing the guitar at 10. We know that you made your first recording at 15. Can I say? Do I need to say anymore? You were gifted and talented. You had your voice when you were young. We also know that you've been associated with B.B. King, Bobby Bland, and my favorite, Jay Blackfoot. Okay, all of those people you have made your mark. And also, I tell you, I just was so when I saw the Irresistible Truth Blues Band, man,
Yes.
I like the name of that band. Okay, that you formed that in 1986. So we are just grateful to have you as a part of this dynamic duo, Mr. Kincaid. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Welcome. Welcome.
Great to be here.
Yes. So in getting us started here on Bring Who You Are, we believe in coming as we are to bring who we are so we can be who we are. And one of the questions that I want to ask, and I want to start with Tracy, this question is for both of you all. How did you come to know that you had a voice? How did you come to know that that was the vehicle which God had given you to bring your gifts and talents to the world? We want to start with Tracy. Tracy, would you mind answering that question for us, please?
Okay, I think Tracy is having a little bit of computer problems, but I think she's back. Let's see. Yep, there she is. All right, Tracy.
Did you hear the question, Tracy, or do I need to repeat the question?
Looks like her screen is frozen.
So while she's getting her technical difficulties, we're gonna go right on over to the other part of this dynamic duo and ask Mr. Kincaid to tell us how he came to know his voice.
Well, my voice is a gift. I don't take credit for it. I just utilize it to to help people, and that's the way I know how. But as I told people before, I played mostly from the time I was very young up until the time I was sitting on the a park bench in Manhattan, crying. I had lost my grandmother. My mother's had already passed, and I was grown crying because I didn't have any control. I couldn't make it happen. Didn't have any answers, and I kept asking God, why? Why me? Why you take my mama? Why'd you do this and that? And he didn't give me an answer immediately. I left that park bench and went back to my room and I couldn't sleep. Before that, that next morning, before that day, actually, I could play. I had played with a lot of different people and whatever, and I played in accordance with what they wanted me to play. But the next morning, I woke up and I could play anything. I had what they call perfect pitch. So God gave me the voice as an answer to my question. He didn't say I took your mama, I took your grandmother. When I asked why me, he said I'm choosing you.
Oh, right, okay.
and he gave me the voice, and I've been using it for years to bless people in whatever genre I'm playing, whether it's blues or gospel or country and western or whatever I play. I try to put my heart into it so that people can feel the extension from my heart through my fingers.
Well, you're working from a good place and you work from your heart. You're working from the best place, not from your head. That's where God resides. It's inside your heart. So, Tracy, tell us how you came to own your voice. Technical difficulty. We seem to be having some technical difficulties.
The audio's off.
Yes, we seem to be having. Please be patient with us.
Can you hear me? I'm continuously no control. Hold on. I'm gonna join my husband's screen. I'm just gonna join
So
you.
while we're waiting, Mr. Kincaid, why are we waiting for Tracy to come where you are so that everybody can hear what she has to say? One question that I always ask anybody that sung gospel and then they went to rhythm and blues or rock and roll. What happened in your community, in the African American community, when you did that switch? How were you impacted by that transition?
Well, there's a considerable amount of misunderstanding and resentment that you have to deal with when you switch. As you can tell with Sam Cooke and Al Green and Little Richard and all the people who have actually switched over. Everything that we do has a purpose, because a lot of our people don't understand the nature of what's being done in the art in the first place. And so the people who want you to be in gospel want you to be in gospel because they feel like, God placed you in gospel and you can't play anything else but gospel. My father was a minister. He had fits about me deciding I was going to play something else. But invariably I had to decide for myself where I was comfortable and where my voice could best speak to people. Because what I did decide is that you can sing in the church and reach the people there, but you can reach more people who need to be reached singing in clubs if you really have a good heart. And so it's not getting out there trying to deliver the wrong message that God wants us to do anyway. He wants us to take what he gives us and reach those people who need to be reached. And that's what I've done. I've gone to clubs and done Amazing Grace.
Amazing Grace, yes.
In the club.
Amazing Grace.
Yes, really. Matter of fact, a very interesting story behind that is when we first put the CD out, I did Amazing Grace, in fact, on the CD. And we were in a club in Greenwood, and this gentleman came up after we finished the show, and I hadn't done the Amazing Grace thing, but they had been listening to the CD and playing it on the radio, and he came up and said, "You didn't do my song." And I looked at him and I said, "What is your song?" Because we were wrapping up, getting ready to leave the stage, and he said, "Amazing Grace."
Oh, wow. Wow.
So now look, we're in a bar. This is a club where they're drinking and everything. And so it immediately touched me in my spirit that he would love to hear me sing that. And most people would have thought it was a joke, but it wasn't. I told him, okay. So we strapped back up and played that song. But God did not want me to play that song just for him. The lady that had been serving drinks behind the bar all night was the one that got slain in the spirit in the club.
Okay. So you have such interesting stories, but I want to hear from Tracy. I want to hear something from her. We've had some technical difficulties, Tracy, but we want to hear from you. How did you know, how did you get your voice? How did you claim your voice? And how did God use it? How did you come to know that you had to bring it to the world? We want to hear what you have to say.
Okay. Can you see me? Can you guys see me?
Partially.
I'm trying to fix it. Okay.
Now.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Well, let's get back to it. Okay. I was just a little girl growing up in church, as I've said before. And I didn't even know I could sing. I love singing. I sang with Sunshine Band as like 5, 3, 4, 5 years old, like that. And I continued to grow and grow and grow. And I would be washing those dishes that you teach those children how to do those chores. So I'd be washing those dishes, and I was actually reared by my godparents, but my mother and my father and my whole family lived just a few blocks down. We were very close knit, and my very, very, very close knit. And I heard my godfather speaking with my mother one day, and he was saying, "Lois, did you know Tracy could sing?" And she was like, "Tracy can sing? Tracy can't sing." And he was like, "Yes, she can sing too." So that was my first time ever hearing anyone even say that I had, a voice, a singing voice. And so from there, anyway, I grew a little older, and choir director from California came back to town, to our hometown, from a little small town in Lovejoy, Illinois, Brooklyn, Illinois. And we would have a choir anniversary every year. And some of the members would come home and, assist with the concerts. And so we were in rehearsal. I got about 13. I'm sorry, I said 11, about 13. And I was just singing a little soprano, role in the first row with all the other young adults. And Lonnie Morgan, he heard this little voice. And he actually reached toward me and pulled me out and took me to the piano and said to me, "I want you to learn this." And that's how it began for me. So I always say that I was chosen. I was chosen, yes.
Yes.
And every time anything has ever happened for me big like that, it's always been that God put me in front of someone to choose me to deliver his message.
Well, that's the way it always is. When you're a creative person, such as you, the dynamic duo right there, you're together. That's what you all are, a dynamic duo. The creative process is one that is divinely given. I feel that that's the closest connection to God that you can have. That's my own personal opinion. And I thank you for sharing it. Now, we know that you have children and that you have talented children. Would you tell us about them?
I have two children, a son and a daughter. Jamisha is my oldest, and Timothy, our son, is our youngest. They're both very, very talented. Jamisha is actually a recording artist herself. She's been recording since she was about 13 years old. Her first recording was with Gamma Records, and now she is actually working. She has a long years of history in the entertainment and music business, and now she's able to she's producing her own music now, and she has a studio, she and her husband, and just a lot of wonderful things that are going on in her life. She has music on iTunes and a lot of different platforms. So if you want to check her out, her name is Jamisha Trice. That's JAMEISHATRICE. Our youngest son Timothy is I call him a businessman and a preacher, but he also sings as well. He doesn't call himself the singer, but when opportunity is presented, he does take the challenge. And so he sings with a Progressive Life-Giving Word Cathedral Choir, where sometimes he does lead songs. He works for with Career Builders, and so they're doing very well. And we're very proud of our kids. We have 2 grandsons, a 17-year-old Kingston's that's doing very well, and a 2-year-old grandson, Mayor.
Wonderful. That's a great answer. Thank you for enlightening us. Now, I have one more question for Mr. Kincaid, and then after that, we're going to take a short commercial break. So, Mr. Kincaid, tell us about your nonprofit.
My nonprofit is called iCare. We formed the iCare quite a number of years ago, almost 35 years ago. It actually started because a young lady who was waiting on a group all the time had a terrible accident on the way to Greenwood, and she lost both of her legs in that accident. We were returning home from being out on the road, and we heard about the accident and that she needed prosthesis. and they didn't have, the insurance to cover all that. So um, instead of trying to get paid for the date that we were going to play, uh, we decided as a band to donate all of the funds that we were going to get paid to that. The newspaper picked up on it, and all of the waitresses and waiters in town donated their salary to her for that matter. And so it became a very successful thing. But the way the I Care name came up was the reporter was asking me, we're covering it with the paper. He says, what do you want to call it? Now, I really hadn't thought about calling it anything. I said, I have no name for it. I just care. I care. And that's how the name got started. So we operate in a number of states now, feeding people who are homeless, giving blankets and doing a multiplicity of different things for people who are less fortunate.
Wonderful. That is so fantastic. You all are still the dynamic duo. This is the dynamic duo functioning together, doing all these great things for the community. Now, we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back.
I've had some good days. Yeah, I had some hills to climb. And I've had some weary days and some sleepless nights.
That's right. It's the phenomenal Mr. Donald
around, I think things over. Oh, yeah. You know what I said?
Here today to bring who you are and bring who they are.
And I won't complain. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I won't complain. Oh, no. I won't complain. How many of y'all won't complain tonight? Put your hands together. I won't complain. Sometimes the clouds hang low. I can only see the road.
And welcome back to Bring Who You Are. And we have the phenomenal dynamic duo here. And I know that our panel has some question for you. So we're going to ask Dr. Rebecca, don't you have a question for these dynamic people?
I do. I just can't believe you say everything in your life is God driven, and even your non-profit I Care was. I mean, you're just phenomenal dynamic duo. My question was actually for Mrs. Kincaid. You're both such an inspiration, and you believe in living your life from an empowered place, and you extend that empoweredness to others through your foundation and through your music. But of course, we are celebrating you as a 10-year breast cancer survivor, and at the beginning we saw that you do a lot of work for cancer research. How did this impact your life going through such a event of survival?
I'm grateful for my journey. I'm grateful for the opportunities God has given me to be able to give back from all of my experiences within the last, now 11 years. I wanted to do something. I didn't know exactly what it was. I was in a really broken place during the first 5 years of my cancer journey. My daughter looked at me and she was not pleased with what she saw and who she saw. She didn't see her mom. She was like, who is this person? And I was like, I had to find a new norm, but I didn't realize that I was in search of my old self for so long. I didn't know that I had to find this new norm. And once I came into the knowledge that I had to accept where I was in my journey, and that I had to continue to live, or did I want to continue to live, and what was the quality of life I wanted to live, that's when I was able to take back and to come into control of who I wanted to be and what and my destiny. And so actually joined finally after 4.5 years of doing it alone. I finally joined a support group of women called the Tasha Joyner Foundation. These
Right.
were women that were empowered and just empowering women, inspiring women, encouraging women to be your best self. And that's when the day when I was able to look in the mirror and say, hey, you know, my hair does not define me. Cancer is not going to define me, but how am I going to take this and make something positive out of it? And so I've been reading this book about energy and what you
Oh,
attract to you. And
yes.
I am a very spiritual woman, and you hear these scriptures over and over. Towards the man think it, so is he. It's really a true thing. We do
Yes.
have magnetic energy, and the things that we think that are in our minds, that is what we attract. And so the things that those things started to gravitate toward me. I started to become a magnet for those things, and I was able to use my voice. I was invited to be a part of a book anthology. When Warriors Talk, God Listens. It's a collection of stories about our breast cancer journeys and how one encounter with God changed the trajectory of our journeys. I've been writing for a long time. Nobody really knew that I was really a writer. I was sort of a lazy person growing up in school. I didn't like to write, but I had a gift, and it was told to me, it was prophesied to me very young that I had the gift of writing. I thought it was a joke. I was like, he could not be talking about me because I don't like to write anything, but the gift was there. And so, anyways, I had been writing songs for years, and I had been singing the melody on my own. And I decided, well, maybe it's time for me to do something with this gift.
Wow.
And so I went. My daughter is her husband. They have a studio. We went in. We actually were able to produce and record my song "Goals." And so I want to lead. The takeaway from that is not to ever give up on your goals, because God sees you. He sees your future, even if you can't see it. You are destined to win. You just have to believe. And so yeah.
And I just
Well,
celebrate
I have a
your
lot. I
journey
mean,
though.
just a lot. A lot of things came out of my journey. My family and I, we started our own non-for-profit organization, Forever Hope Agency. You can go visit our website, Forever Hope Agency. It is a non-for-profit organization. Our mission is to meet the human needs of individuals and underserved communities. And so it's just a lot. It's so much that we can give back, into society, and encouraging women to go have those breast screenings, to not to give up, that every day is October. It's not just when the month of October comes around. My story is very, very deep, because I knew that I had the lump, and it's something that I'm not proud to share, but I must share because I know that I'm not the only woman that have discovered a lump in their breast. I waited a while. I may have been able to um, not have to have the chemotherapy or the radical treatment that I had to have had I gone at an earlier stage. And so I encourage women not to wait, to go get screened, to not to give up, and just to be the best you that you can be.
That's
That is
amazing.
awesome. Pam, I know you got a question there, hon.
I tell you what, Mr. and Mrs. Kincaid, I am truly, truly enjoying both of you and Mrs. Kincaid. Oh my goodness. Just the, I'm just overwhelmed, overwhelmed with what you poured into us today and your strength. So many women needed to hear that today. So many. So thank you for your strength. So you've done a lot of phenomenal things. Your book, I mean, just life itself, your nonprofit organizations. I know you got some other projects on the horizon, right? You
Yes.
and Mr. Kincaid, I'm sure,
Yes.
right?
So,
So
like I
please
said,
do
I was
share with
actually
us.
blessed to be a part of the book anthology, where I am a contributing author with 2 chapters in the book, and I'm really grateful for that. But God has also blessed me to. I believe I'm almost complete. I thought I was finished right at the beginning of COVID, but then it took another turn. So I'm actually writing my own personal book, and so I hope to be able to get that book published and out to the public soon. Also, I've been exploring. As a young girl, again, growing up. I was an actress in school, in grade school, all the way up to graduating high school, and but I never pursued a career in acting. But it's really a great passion of mine, and so last year, I actually maybe year before last, I started to revisit that part of the gift that God has placed inside of me, and I'm hoping to be able to possibly
Okay.
land some major roles. I've done some, some work, like we talked about earlier with Empire, through 4 Star Casting, but I also have some other opportunities. So will you guys just keep me in your prayers if things go well?
We sure will. We sure will. And I know there are
I'm
many
sorry, I
viewers
like to
out
mention
there.
too.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I did have a dream that I wanted. It was like something on my bucket list, and it actually manifested last year. I wanted to model for one of Chicago's designers, Barbara Bates. I
Yes,
was
I know
actually
Barbara
able
Bates.
to be in
Yes.
her fashion show last year. I was going to be in it this year, but due to COVID, we weren't able to actually do it. But that was really a
Oh
huge,
my goodness.
huge thing for me. So I was excited about that. So, but who knows what's in my future?
That is so powerful. I tell you what, you are just such an inspiration. And our viewers out there, we want to welcome you and thank you for joining us. We hope that you have your notebooks and pens out because Mr. and Mrs. Kincaid are full of knowledge, full of nuggets. And if we ever learned anything today, we've learned the power of faith and we've learned the power of being steadfast in your faith. And Miss Kincaid said she dreamt it,
Yes.
she hoped for it, and it happened. So congratulations to you. So we want to welcome again our viewers
All
out there.
right,
Thank you for joining
fantastic. And
us.
I want to just say we've got folks streaming in from all over. Hey, Dr. Florence coming in from Africa. We've got folks streaming in from DC. Someone says, welcome, Pam. And of course, Dr. Florence said, powerful. What a powerful interview. Welcome, Dr. Sims from Augusta, Georgia. Good to see you. And the phenomenal Patricia Rogers. Hello. She says, hello, ladies. Just want to stop by and say hello. And Harris Tay from the Philippines. Good to see you. And of course, the remarkable KJ Johnson. She said, hello, ladies. My Bring Who You Are tribe. You ladies look beautiful. Honored to know each of you. Got a fire in my belly. All right, fantastic. Living from an empowered place. And Corey Moore says, hello, everyone. Good to see you. And of course, Dr. Florence said, oh, wow, amazing. And Shirley Murphy, all the way from Africa, says, hello, ladies. And the remarkable author, Miss Ruth Verby out of Canada, says, woohoo, amazing. And one of our Facebook users said, love the poem. And of course, KJ Johnson says, beautiful, Jemija Jubilee, beautiful. And April Hopkins, April, let us know where you're coming in from. I think she's coming in from Chicago. Is that right, Doc Sims?
LA.
LA, all right.
No,
North Carolina. All
I'm
right.
not
So
very good at
April
lip reading, Dr.
from
Sims.
from North Carolina, good to see you. And so many folks, just so many, I can't even bring up on the camera right now, but we want to say thank you for joining us. We have had a fantastic time so far. So Jemija, go ahead.
I tell you, we're going to take a little break, and when we come back, we're going to get to hear something musical from this dynamic duo that we've been waiting. I've been waiting. I've been sitting on the edge of my chair. So when you all come back, that's what we're going to do. So we're going to take a break and be right back.
I've had some good days. Yeah, I had some hills to climb.
Super blessed to have the remarkable Mr. Donald Kincaid and the singing sensation and
But you know
author.
what?
This is Quebrando Kincaid on the show today. And this is a good day.
I think
Every day's a great day as you bring who you
all
are.
of my good days. Y'all come and go with me. Out when
And welcome back to Bring Who You Are. Well, we're going to get some ice and put on this cake. You know, I'm a southern girl and used to cooking. And my mama used to ice the cake. That made the cake taste so much more delicious. So we're going to ask you to bring us one of your songs so that we can just sit back and breathe and listen to the musical talents of this dynamic duo.
And we're going to make some room. All right. So we're going to move over. So we're going to move over just a little bit, you all, so we can make some room for this dynamic duo.
I really don't know how clear the audio is going to be. This is an acoustic guitar and it's not plugged up right now. Okay. But we started out playing something very simple, and one of the ladies said she loved, even when I did the pre-interview yesterday, she was saying something about the blues. The blues is a derivative of language that we started to speak back in the days of field, working in cotton fields or whatever we were doing.
Yes.
And we wanted to talk to each other while the overseers were riding around trying to figure out what we were saying. And the messages were conveyed in that process. So they had songs like Crawling King Snake and You Got Me Running, You Got Me Hiding, You Got Me Doing What You Want Anyway.
I remember that. Yes.
Those were messages, though. They weren't just songs.
Yes.
And so I put a song out on my CD called Matchbox. And it's about this guy who was cutting up, and his wife kept telling him, like, you need to come home and don't be hanging out in the streets, because if you come home one night and your clothes sitting outdoors, that don't mean I'm tired. Unfortunately, he didn't hear that. So one morning when he got ready to come home after staying out all night gambling, and all of his clothes were outdoors. And that's where Matchbox came from.
Thank you for explaining that to us. Now we want to hear some of that blues, honey.
Okay, it goes like this. Standing there wondering, will a matchbox hold my clothes? Standing there wondering, will a matchbox hold my clothes? My woman done got mad with me. She done throw my clothes outdoors. I'm looking to see my woman coming down the street. But every other car I see, she ain't sitting in the seat. So I'm standing here wondering where I'm gonna put my clothes. She said, I told you once, I told you twice, hanging out all night long, sure ain't nice. Standing here wondering when a man might hold my clothes. My woman done got tired, hold my clothes outdoors. I was listening to the weather report. You know what I found out? The man said there was gonna be below zero outside. And then you're wondering with me. And throw my clothes out the door.
Wow. That was amazing.
That was awesome. That was totally awesome.
Yes. Yes. Even after COVID, you are still able to play and sing. That's phenomenal.
So I know that we have some other questions that Judge and Lotus, you have a question, and Dr. Seals, would you go ahead on now and just I hear this echo. And ask the question.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. You both are in different diverse music genres. Mr. Kincaid and rhythm and blues, and Mrs. Kincaid and gospel. Have you ever found this to be a conflict?
No,
Never.
actually, one complements the other. When you actually have to learn how to appreciate the other person's message and in conversation in terms of what they're conveying when it comes down to their musical style.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, thank you.
So you have someone that says, thanks for paving the way and representing the voice of all the musicians all over the world, both of you. So thank you so much. And we have Ruth Verby. She says she loves this. And Timothy says, I hear you, Daddy. Love you, Pop. So we wanted to make sure that you saw that. And thank you, Timothy, for tuning in. And don't forget to share, like, and start a watch party. And those of you that's coming in a little bit behind the mark, we have the remarkable dynamic duo, Miss Tracy R. Kincaid and Mr. Tracy R. Kincaid, and we're super happy to have them here. So I've got a question, and I know we're almost at the top of the hour, but I've got to ask this question because, Tracy, you said that you were always chosen, and you and I have had some candid conversations off screen and things of that nature, and you said you were always chosen, always blessed, always have favor. So can you tell us a little bit about that? What do you mean when you say you were always chosen? And tell us your experience on Empire too, because we want to know how many Empire fans we got out there. Okay. You an Empire fan? Go ahead and put a number 2 in the comment block below.
Well, Lotus, I say that because I've never been I've never been a competitive type of person. I've always just seemingly been in the right place at the right time. Mm-hmm. And even as when I always have to go back to being a little girl, because at the age of 5, at kindergarten. It was like the teachers saw something in me as a little child, and they picked me to be in like every production that there ever was, seemed like at Lovejoy School. And it wasn't something that I chose for myself. They saw some type of potential, and I was able to follow instructions well. And so what I for years, I just followed the instruction. I didn't even really know that it was something that I like as far as singing and acting and modeling, because my godmother was a seamstress. And so she made most of all of my wardrobe. But there were also fashion shows that, throughout the year, spring fashion show, fall fashion show. And I was put in the fashion show, and I had what it took as far as what they they were concerned. So I just grew up that way. And then when I went off to college, I was auditioning, not even really auditioning, and I was in a little talent show that I had to be in because I played also in the band. I played flute. And when I went to college to Mississippi Valley State University, when we went for band camp, at the end of camp, they had a little talent show. And I said, well, I'm just gonna learn a verse of this song. I'm gonna sing it, and then that's all I'm gonna do, because I didn't like competition. I didn't like that. And so I get up there and I sing the verse, and I didn't know any more of the song, and they all were yelling and cheering me on to continue to sing, and I couldn't go any further because I didn't know it. And I said, well, I don't know it. And from there, the director of the assistant director, corrected, of the band took that entire song and composed it for the band, and I was just a freshman.
Wow.
And they composed it for the band, and the next thing I know, I was singing for my freshman home year, what's called it?
Homecoming.
I was singing for homecoming as a freshman, and I was traveling with the band. I was in the band and traveling with the football team. They were touring, and so when we would go to different states and different schools, the band would perform the song. I didn't ask for that. That just kind of like dropped in my lap. I didn't ask for that. I was given a co-host position on a talk show. I didn't ask for that. It was given to me. So I don't know. It just kind of happens like that.
Awesome. Awesome.
As far as the Empire, the acting thing, that was something that I wanted to pursue, because acting was something that I actually did enjoy. And so I decided I really wanted to be, and I really wanted to get back into acting. And so I took the initiative to take the necessary steps to become a part of an agency. And I'm really excited about doing it. And as a result of that, I was selected to be an extra. I'm still kind of looking for myself in those different scenes, but I was there. I was on the set. I was on the set. I was there for hours and hours and hours. But yeah, I'm really excited because I feel like I was really a part of history, because I was actually at the finale of the last show.
Oh, wow. Yes.
Wow.
That was major. That was I don't even care if I didn't get on the screen. Just being there amongst the greats was really a eye-opening experience for me.
Nice.
Yeah, it was amazing. And I remember because you and I had talked, and I said, "You're gonna be on what?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna be an extra on Empire." I was like, "Empire what? Empire the show?" She was like, "Yes, Empire the show." And she took me and she showed me where, and it was amazing. So thank you for sharing that, Tracy, because I know you kind of somewhat of a private person, but you talked about order, having everything in order. So I'm gonna kick right over to order with Dr. Sims, because she got a question for you.
The whole series of the show is domestication of religion and various areas in our life. And we're talking about domestication of entertainment. And I know that there have been some problematic areas in the entertainment field, especially back in the day. So I want to address this question with the both of you, or maybe Mr. Kincaid, based on the racism that we suffer in America, yet still, but back in the day it was a little worse than it is today because things have gotten better. How did it impact you regarding the rights and the royalties to your music?
Well, first of all, it made me prepare myself a lot better in the areas of reading and writing and understanding the laws and following protocol when it came down to asking for my masters and so on and so forth when I went to the studios. A lot of people were not able to do that. Most of the early artists wind up being signed by somebody who had some money that they wanted to discover them after they had been singing like 50 years. And of course, the the call to order, and they were comfortable doing that. That's how Columbia and RCA and all of the big companies wind up being the recording giants. They wind up being. They took music. They took our music and made songs with them, and we didn't have any right to tell them that those were our songs because they just took them, and we didn't have any writing to prove. Even if we went to court, we didn't have any money to pay lawyers or anything because it was just it's very difficult. And of course, the whole thing about the entertainment back then was we would go to places and play for predominantly white audiences and wouldn't be able to live in a hotel in that town because they didn't admit black people. It's like what they call a chitlin circuit early.
Yeah, chitlin circuit.
Yep.
So when you start listening at Ma Rainey and all of the people who put out blues songs back in the day, when just all you do is flip the page and go over to Elvis and all of the other artists like that. I was talking to a young man who was telling me about Motley Crue and how tough the Motley Crue and Slash was and the lead player. And I said, well, listen to Slash's notes. He said, well, what about them? I said, they're all blues licks that he took from somebody.
Right.
Yes.
And I said, if you didn't understand that, I said, I know you don't understand because first of all, you have no inkling of what the blues is all about in the first place. So you think it's Slash music. And that's for your generation. That's cool. But if you go back and listen at the history, then you'll understand the fullness of the language and what it's all about. So when it came down to the copyrights and all of those things, it's been a very difficult journey. It's a lot better now, though, because just about every other house has a studio in it. And so
right.
Yes.
right.
And so you don't have to wait on somebody to come and discover you and give you a chance to record. You don't have to. You can Google patents and copyrights, and it'll give you a template to fill in, and you can fill it out. They have the poor man's copyright where you get your
yes.
You mail it to yourself.
Mail it back to yourself.
Yes.
And so there are a lot of things that we can do now that we were not able to do before, and therefore the field is much more lucrative for us right now than the government did before.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
I'm so glad things have changed. I'm really glad things have changed.
Well, that's slowly. I mean, because every time you make forward progress, you can look for somebody to come in and try to pull it back to where it was. That's the way it's going with the national office and the president's office right now. They want it to be back like it was in the happy days in the 50s and whatever. It's never going to be like that anymore because people are wiser and they're not going for the same thing anymore.
Yeah. And just a quick, Ruth Verby says, I'm so very sorry that you have experienced the crime of racism. May God bless you richly.
Yes.
Well, it's a badge that we wear because we didn't experience it just for us. We experienced it for every person of color.
Agreed. Yeah.
Everyone. In spite of what people say in terms of the visions they try to create between us and all of that, we still represent. When we stand up, people don't see us as being this kind of black person or this kind of Indian or this kind of whatever. They see all people of color as being inferior.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
And and I think that through what you went through years ago, that's not going to. And I think I heard you say that that's not going to fly today because we're so much more educated as to what we can and cannot do. And I really appreciate your answer, and it's an enlightenment because people want to paint this big picture of roses, and it wasn't like that back in the day. So
No.
now we have the voice. They know where this music is coming from. So it's kind of hard for them to steal it from us now.
Of course it will be, because now we have a means of taking pictures with a camera and having evidence
Hmm.
and
Yep.
sending that evidence to somebody else who can share it with somebody else who can share it with somebody else.
Right.
Yes. Amen.
And social media is making it go viral automatically anyway. So it's going to come directly to you. If you put something on social media, you're going to be equating with that music. So it's just hands down.
So what's actually happening right now in the Mississippi Delta, where blues got started with Robert Johnson and all the other old artists, is you see an influx of a whole lot of people from other countries and all over America, because when people come to the Delta from England, then they think that, oh yes, all the people in America finally discover that the Delta's down there, and they come down and spend money there. So and you have a whole lot of artists who are coming from Spain and Switzerland and Amsterdam and all over the world, who come to the Delta wanting to learn the essence of the blues so they'll know the truth about it. And they actually appreciate it more than the people here in the country.
Wow.
Awesome.
We thank you for your, we thank you so very, very much for giving us that background information on the blues and talking about the musical industry, because that's what this show is all about. That's what this show
Yes.
we're bringing about, the domestication of entertainment. So what we're going to do right now, we've come to the end of our show. This was part 2 of the domestication of entertainment. And I just want to ask Tracy, would you leave us with a pearl, one pearl of wisdom, before we close out?
I'll say this. He knows just what your future holds, even if you can't see it. He created you wonderfully.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. Oh my
So we
goodness.
couldn't close the show, and we couldn't close the show without hearing from both of you musically, because y'all are the dynamic duo, and you support each other's creativity. And we want to thank everybody that has watched us today. And the other thing too is we didn't put a whole lot of emphasis on, you all have come through COVID, and
Yes.
and that is something. Look, you deserve to get a crown for that. Okay.
Right.
Both of you are sitting there, and it's by the grace of God, and because God allowed you to come back healthy and be on the show today. So we want to applaud you for coming on, having been that way. We need to give them some love. Okay.
Yes.
So we're going to show you some love from our hearts. We show you the love, and we're going to send out more healing and more light to you, so
Right.
that you can continue to heal and to grow as the dynamic duo. All right. We thank you. We bow to you and we thank you.
Thank you.
And with
Yes.
that being said, we want to thank all of you out there for joining us today on the domestication of entertainment. And we just want you to wholeheartedly and unapologetically to remember what we are about on this platform. And that's for you to come as you are, bring who you are, so you can be who you are, guided by the big G. And join us the next time when we come back and we talk about the domestication of health. We thank you again, and we'll see you next time on right here on what, y'all? Bring who you
Bring
are.
who you are.
Bye.
See you next time.
Thank you.
He knows just what your future holds, even if you can't see it. He created you wonderfully. And no matter what you're feeling, no matter what they say, he created you to be what you're becoming today. So don't give up on your goal. God will complete what he started in you. 'cause you were destined to win, and there is no failure in God. Lord, I take you at your word, even if I can't trace you. You have never left my side. And in every situation, through heartache and pain, we know we have the victory, and it is ours to proclaim. So don't give up on your goal. God will complete what he started in you. 'Cause you were destined to win, and there is no failure in God. So don't give up, don't give in. We have to know that in the end we're gonna win. 'Cause God's got us, God's got us.